Welcome, 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 welcome back to the live stream. All right, listen. Um, I want to show you guys this setup for block mode inside of Reason. I did have somebody ask me recently to do a video on it, and rather than do the explanation via comments, I did want to actually talk about it and set up and go through the setup on Reason on a live stream or video. And so since I'm here and I'm available to jump on again today, shout outs to anybody that came through to the live stream earlier. We just cooked up a beat earlier, but I'm gonna show you guys how you can do this setup. And I really feel like this is like critical to creating music um because a lot of people seem to have the same question, or they seem to have the same kind of issue or the same kind of problem. And that is, how do I get my song to move from just a loop and actually turn it into a song? And so what I do is I use block mode so that I can label out the different sections and different parts of my song. But you don't necessarily have to use block mode. It's just what I like to use. So I'm going to show you how you can use block mode. You've probably already done it before. You've probably seen me do this before. Maybe possibly, but just in case you haven't, I'm going to show you how you can set this up. So right here, I have all of these blocks already set up in my Reason file. Shout outs to Reason Studios in general. I did just see a video recently. Somebody was doing something similar to this. And I did like the way that he explained it, because he called it a upside down pyramid or something of that nature. So he kind of created this kind of like imagery that you could use to sequence out your music. And I like that imagery that he used. I thought that that was pretty creative to kind of create that imagery and then, set it up in that way so that people could understand, oh, this is similar to how a lot of song sequences work, with building up your sound and building up your song, creating this stack of, music, either going one way or the other. It could be building up, or it could be, you know, dropping down. It really just depends on how you want to, kind of create your music and whatnot. So it could have this kind of a pattern, or it could have another kind of a pattern. But anyway, shout outs to them. I thought that that video was well done, and made a lot of sense in how you kind of create your music and create these different stacks and these different shapes with your clips. And essentially, it's just different parts of the music are being used, and you just take those parts out as you are building your track. It just makes sense how those parts kind of go together. All right, block mode. To start block mode, you go up to options and you click this button, enable blocks. So if you normally just start here, block mode is not there. None of the options to turn it on or off are there. You have to go to options and hit enable blocks. Once you do hit enable blocks, you will then have this button here where it says song and block. So if I go to block, I will have these different 32 blocks. Now, one way that I use block mode in the past is I would just build the entire song in a block. So I would use my transport automation to change the tempo. So I would set my tempo up here and stretch that guy across and give myself some room. And I would just create the entire track, the entire song in this block, right? That's one way that I would do it. So it would literally have, you know, all of the parts. It would have the hook, and then, this would probably represent like just the verse, and then this would be the hook again with the verse, and then end it off somewhere over here, double up on that hook, the chorus section of the song, something of that nature. And like I said, I will use my tempo to kind of create that song. So this would be a full song right? This would be like a full song structure that we would use with block mode. And, that's just like one way that we could set that guy up. Of course, and then, to be more specific, we would probably slide this guy over and then maybe use this to create like a little intro. So we got intro, start with the hook, hook, verse, hook. And that's building out the song inside of a block, right? Another way that you could do it, of course, you literally just use certain blocks to create your song. So you would have block 9, which would have, these two, and then maybe block 10 would have these three, these patterns, right, of your different instruments. It would have these patterns here, and then block 11 might only have these patterns here. And when you go to your song, you would then use your blocks to create your song. So here would be this part, and it would have those two clips, and then here would be like my verse section. So I would use this one for those clips. Something of that nature, and then so on and so forth as I would build out the song using the different patterns that are inside of the block mode. And so some people like to use block mode in that way, and then you can still come in here on your sequencer and create clips and create mutes in order to stop music and stuff like that. You can still use your sequencer as normal, right? Here's the way that I was suggesting for organization and for, using it as a hack in order for you to structure out your song. Because like I said before, a lot of people have been coming to me saying, how do I change this 4-bar loop, or how do I make it a song? How do I turn it from it just sounding like a loop where it's just playing the same thing over and over again? How do I get it to sound like a song, right? So the reason why I want to show this way is because when you do it like this, you just give yourself something to work on. When you're looking at this blank canvas, it's kind of hard to see, what is what and like what should go where, right? But when you use these blocks, you can set them up, you can name them. So I have them named intro, hook, verse, bridge, outro, pre-hook, build. You can go on and on with all the ways that you want to label your song. And of course, you can color code them as well. But what you would need to do is just click on a block, come in here, and then just name this block, right? And then as you name this block, you can also change the clip color by right clicking and going to clip color, and then you can just change the color. So now we have a verse 2, and how about for fun, we do verse 3 as well, and I'll change that to a nice bright, maybe like a yellow or something. Yeah, nice bright color. So I have them set up in blocks, and then when I go into my song, I'll have it set up like this. I know I need an intro, so there's my intro, and it's up to me to decide if I want to start with the verse or if I want to start with the hook, but I'll do my verse. And let's just say if that's my verse, then I'm coming in here at the next portion so I can fill in my hook. And it helps me to be able to visually see what's happening in the song. So sometimes I'll set up the entire song like this, like I'll know, hey, I want these elements in the song. So now, because I know I want these elements in the song, that's how I start to build out the song. So I tell myself, okay, for the intro, we only need certain elements. For the verse, we want certain elements. For the hook, we want certain elements, and so on and so forth. Sometimes instead of the verse being this long, I'll do a bridge or I'll do a build. So I'll put the build in there, right? I might have a build or I might have a bridge like that. But now I can visually see it as I'm using these blocks. I can visually see, okay, here are the different portions and parts of my song. So if I ever get to a point where I'm looking at a part of the song, and let's say the song, I'm looking at this part of the song and I'm saying, okay, this is my verse. Well, the verse should not be identical to the build because nothing has changed between the way that these two clips look. We haven't even gotten into like the sound of them. We're just literally looking at the clips. This is why I like Reason, as you can see the clips of your music. We just haven't changed anything in the clip. Same thing with the intro. Like, okay, I can see something is different now. This clip is the only clip that's in the intro. And then for the verse, we have these three. But also for the build, we have these three too. So maybe something needs to change there. Maybe I need to add a fourth element or like another sound, so that I can actually have some differentiation between the verse and the build. Or maybe I need to change something altogether, just have those two for the build. And then when I come into the hook, usually the way that I say it is the hook should be the portion of the song that has the most elements happening in it or the most change. So if in the verse there are no hi-hats, in the hook there will be hi-hats. If in the verse there is a sub bass or electric bass, then in the hook there's going to be an 808. And so there's either the most amount of elements happening in the hook or the most amount of change that's happening in the hook. So maybe something changes from the rest of the track in the hook area. It's very common that people can also just have one long train of thought for the beat. You think about songs like say for example, like 6 foot, 7 foot Lil Wayne. It's pretty much just the sample and the 808 and the drums throughout the whole thing. And the only thing that really changes is Lil Wayne's delivery of his rap and like the little ad libs or things that they put in the song. But for the most part, from beginning to end, the song pretty much just kind of flows like this. And then every so often, like for a couple of bars, you'll have like this space of like, oh, it's just going to play the little vocal sample. Hopefully this makes sense as I'm using these clips. So some songs are designed like that, but not all songs, right? Not all songs are designed as simplistic as that. Some songs, require to have some difference, some different things happening in those songs. So I use block mode like this. This is the hack that I have started using. And when I use this hack, I have just noticed that when I use this, separating out my track, first of all, I like the way that it looks. I can have a certain look or aesthetic to my track because, the colors that come from the block mode clips, I just like the way that looks. And it helps me to be able to see the different parts of the song. And I can just move the entire part. So I use the razor tool. I go up to the top. I can click and drag, and you can highlight that entire section. And so I know, okay, cool. I'm going to be working in the hook. I'm going to grab that and, I can duplicate that over like that. So like I was saying earlier, what you could do is once you have this stuff, already, set how you want it to be, you could just copy it. You could copy it, and then you could go into block mode and you can go into those certain areas and you can paste it. And so now when you go into your song, your bridge, see, it has the same information that it had over here. So it's interchangeable. There's different ways that you can do it, for that matter. You don't necessarily have to use block mode at all, right? You could use this transport area and do like the same exact thing. It just won't have the same effect personally to me. So if we just use this transport, and I say transport because typically there's nothing happening there. You might do some automation or not, but mostly there's nothing really happening in the transport. So you can just create different clips and then you would change the name of them, kind of the same way we did with block mode. Of course, you could just do the same thing with all of the clips. You can add labels to this clips, and that will help you be organized and to know like, oh, okay, this is all of the verse. You can do these clips, and we say this is the hook, right? I wish somebody would tell me like exactly what Reason had in mind for these labels. To me, it's probably just like if you had a change in like the piano, maybe this is like piano run 1 and this is piano run 2, or a different chord progression or something. I don't know. Maybe you could use it like that, but of course you could use it like this too. You can actually set it up That way. Now, the thing that I don't like to do, or what I wouldn't recommend, is like stuff like this, like coloring all of your clips. So, okay, here's all of my hook clips. They're all colored pink. And then here's all of uh my verse clips, and I'm gonna color them sky blue or whatever. And so now I have all of my verse, and my hook. I don't really advise that, just because sometimes you can have multiple instruments, and the way that Reason, does the clip coloration, it's based off of whatever color that this is. So if you go to add in a new part, it's not going to follow that colorization. It's not going to follow that color. It's just going to start the color from whatever the base color is set over here for the instrument, the track color, right? So if this color is purple now, it'll do purple. And of course, there's reasons for why you want these to be colored a certain way. So that's the reason why I would not necessarily recommend coloring the clips in that way. And to me, using block mode to just color that entire area just makes more sense. And you got hook, boom, it's all colored right there, and then whatever color this is doesn't matter, because you're using you're using this color to be able to see the different areas. Mick Eastland's in here, man. What's up? I'm just sharing a breakdown of how you can set up these blocks, and use the block mode and everything like that before we get into some tracks. I wanted to take it, kind of easy tonight. So that's block mode, and that's how I typically would use block mode. And so I'll show you an example now from the track that I made earlier today. I'll show you an example with this track, and then I also want to get into something new, you know what I'm saying? So, but I'll show you an example with this track. Let me see this button right here. I'll show you an example with this track, and then we'll get into it. And then I need to actually pop out my chat so that I can see, because I'm getting old. I'm getting old, so I need to pop this guy out so I can actually see my chat. Hey, Johnny Ravioli, what up, man? What's good? I still rock with Reason, but I had to grab Cubase Crossgrade. The deal was too good to pass up. Hey, man, that's what's up. How are you liking that? I don't know what that means, a Cubase Crossgrade. I'm not 100% sure of what exactly that means, but how are you liking that? Um, yeah, I just like using Reason, man. I just like it. I like Reason, and it's the one that I picked. It's the one that I got. Great Keys, what up, Great Keys? Oh man, y'all right in time. So y'all skipped the boring part of the lesson, and now y'all jumped in for the exciting part. Cool. I'm gonna play the song. So as you can see, when you look at my song, I have the song set up using the block mode. So I'm gonna show you guys right here. So set up using this block mode, we have the intro, we have the verse, hook, well, this is just one hook or whatever. And we have verse, and hook. Okay, so we have them all set up. And what I would usually do is I would have an empty track. I would go into the block mode, name all of the ones that I want. And then, so these are already named. These are set here. And then save that as a preset before I actually create a song, right? And then that would kind of, get you set up and ready to go for the next time that you want to do it. There are plenty of times I make, there are plenty of times I make tracks that I don't do that at all. But for the times that I do it, I realize and see, wow, this song is much better in terms of how it's spaced out, much better in terms of how it's like I can just see things, and I can just see, oh, okay, cool. I see what I was doing there. And it just makes more sense when I am using the blocks to separate the track and when I'm not. And then, like I said, it gives it a certain look. So I'll even feel like, oh, like this track is done, It's like, oh, okay, cool. As I see it mapped out like this, and then I even will go in and say, okay, well, maybe I can change something in here to make it a little bit different. Maybe we can change something in here so that it's not just Lego blocks. It's not just so rigid and stiff, but we can add in some breaks, we can add in some transitions, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. With that being said, let's take a listen to this track, and then after that, we're gonna get into the next track, man. Let's check it out. Here we go. All right, and then that is that, man. So appreciate you, Great Keys. So with that track right there, it's just an example so that you can see how I typically will like set up those blocks so you can see the different sections, the different areas, and when you have that set up, it's very easy to see, okay, now I can see this is not just one loop. This is not just an 8-bar loop that's repeated. There are different parts, and I can get as specific with it as I want or not. Right. So I have another track here that we're going to go through. I said I want to make something new, which I am. But since I have this track, I've been going back to this song a lot, man. I've been going back to it a lot, just enjoying listening to it. This is the first time that Reason asked me to do a track on Reason Studios, like on their YouTube page. And I remember making the track. I was just super excited, bro. I was just like, my thought process was, okay, they gave me access to the BVX, the vocoder. And my thought process was, let's just make a track. And then after we make the track, then we'll go in and record and like kind of show the breakdown of the track, right? So not really tutorial style, more just like a showcase, right? It's like, oh, here is how I used BVX. Here's how I did some of the stuff, right? And so just as an exercise, I was, oh, okay, what we'll do is we'll go into blocks and we'll actually name these. See, I don't have any of these named or anything like that. We'll go in here and we'll just create some of these blocks so you can see what it looks like when we do it. So we got intro, we got verse, skip verse 2 for whatever reason. Got intro, verse 2. I'm gonna just put verse 3, even though I don't think that there are 3 verses in here. We'll put a build. I'll put one that says pre-hook. And we'll put one that says bridge, and then we can put one that says outro. Okay, so now we have all of these. They're ready to go, and we'll just start listening to the track and just start labeling it out. Oscar, welcome to the live stream. Yeah, if you are using blocks the intended way, if you're using blocks the intended way, it matters if there's something in the block, right? So if you have something in this block, it matters. How I typically use it, like I said, in this structure, there's nothing in the block, right? It's always empty. Aaron, what up? Welcome to the live stream. Chris says Reason Gang assemble. That's hilarious. There's usually nothing inside of the block. It's just an empty block, and then I use it just like this, right? But it does matter. I guess for that matter, we also should do a track where we use blocks and actually build out the track, because I don't think I've ever actually done that, but we can do that tonight. All right, so in order for y'all to hear this, I actually gotta set this guy up. So this is from a while ago, right? Like I've changed my entire, like, the way I set up my live stream and everything. Like everything is different. So I just gotta set this up real quick. So for anybody that didn't know, the way that I get audio from Reason into OBS, which is the platform, that's the software that I use to stream with, I use this VST called Reaper. It's called Restream. Okay, it's called Restream here, and this is what it looks like. It's very simple. But what you have to do is you have to open it up in Reason as an effect. I open it up empty. I like to use the control room out. I send the control room out into there, and then from here, there's nothing else I will need to do. It just is already set up to send audio. Once you click on the VST, it sends audio, and that sends it into OBS. So I know I'm getting audio, and then I just need to set it local broadcast. There we go. So I know we got it. There we go. And I'll come over here and just kind of turn this guy down. I'm not sure. It's probably kind of loud.
Lights, camera, action, it's a movie. Go ahead and grab somebody. No sitting at this party. Turn up all the lights, camera, action,
Still
it's a
intro.
movie. Go ahead and grab somebody. No sitting at this party. Turn up all the lights, camera, action, it's a movie. Go ahead and...
Sorry. So I need a hook, actually. I didn't actually name one hook. So we need a hook section. Looks like I started with the intro and then went to the hook, man.
Grab somebody. No sitting at...
My mic right now is in OBS. And it's in OBS because if I set it up in Reason, then I have to continue. I have to keep setting it up. And all that means is I just need to open up an audio track and then hit monitoring. And then once I hit monitoring, like you'll probably hear it twice now. You'll hear my voice twice. That's all we have to do to set that up. So right now it's in OBS, and I have like a compressor, a limiter, an EQ, and I have a bunch of stuff in OBS that's running on this microphone as well. Versus in Reason, what you just heard was like just a dry signal in Reason. So sometimes I use it in Reason, and then sometimes I use it in OBS, because in OBS I can't hear myself, but in Reason I can hear myself talk. So it just depends on what I feel like doing. Also, because if I'm using Reason, right, for example, and I turn this guy off, if I'm using Reason to do it, then I can use all of their compressors and their gate, right? I can use all of their stuff, and I can hear myself, and then I can use the cool effects. So like, if I want to be crazy, woo, then I can do something like that, right? I can use their effects and man, shout outs to everybody, man. I appreciate y'all from the bottom of my heart. So corny. But anyway, so those are some reasons why I would use Reason's microphone as opposed to OBS using the microphone. All right, let's get back. Man, I want to check out that Lewitt, actually. Yes. I want to check out the microphone. I don't know what Lewitt Connect is, but I got to check that out too. Let me see. Lewitt Connect 6. Are you saying as far as the Okay, okay. I'm gonna look at this real quick. Are you talking about this? Are you talking about the actual interface? Oh, look, it has a little software, has software that comes with it too. But are you referring to the software or the interface or both? But I'm gonna check. I'm gonna have to check that out. Okay, so that's what he's saying. Because if Gray Keys mentions it, then I know it's something worth check out. I already know. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check. I'm gonna have to look into it. I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna look into it. Look, thanks, Gray Keys. I'm gonna look into it. That's what I use for my streams. Gotcha, 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 gotcha. All right, so we got the intro, we got the hook.
Lights, camera, action, it's a movie. Go ahead and grab somebody. No sitting at this party. Turn up all of the lights, camera, action, it's a movie. Go ahead and grab somebody. No sitting at this party. Turn up all of
So we can hear right here, like this is essentially the verse, right? So if I had me like a little rap, I could probably do my little rap right there. I had a lot of fun making
the lights, camera, action, it's a movie.
Now, this is another part of the song, and I don't typically make beats like this. It usually would be very just traditional. It would just go hook, verse, and then hook, verse, right? But instead, this time I kind of did something a little different. So I would say this is not really a build up. So I wouldn't put build here, but maybe pre hook. Maybe I would call that like pre hook. So that could be our pre hook area.
Lights, camera, action.
Because it's definitely different from the verse. It's not the verse.
Lights, camera, action, it's a movie. Go ahead and grab somebody. No sitting.
Now, I want to just point some stuff out because essentially what we were talking about is using blocks in order to get the rhythm of song structure and sequencing out your song. And one thing I said earlier was in your hook, maybe your bass sounds different than what your bass sounds like in the verse, or maybe you don't have a bass, or maybe you just change your elements, right? You change your elements around so you can get a different feel, a different vibe. Well, that's exactly what we did with this pre-hook area. We have a totally different bass. As I was like checking out different stuff to do with the BVX vocoder, it's like, oh, what if we used our voice to create a bass line? And of course, if you check out the Reason video, I already like explained all that stuff. But in the idea of song sequence, hold on. Hold on. I gotta go, y'all. Yeah, yeah, what's happening? Hey, everything's okay, y'all. I wish I wish that I could like grab this camera and like show y'all. It's crazy. But everything is fine. Everything is cool. Everything is cool. But I could hear it from in here, right? Essentially, all right, we have this issue with our tub and the handle. Okay. And usually I can turn the water off for the house and fix the handle before there's an issue. But tonight, of course, I was not able to do that. So it's like the handle shot off and the water, listen to me, the water sprayed everywhere in the bathroom. So I know how to turn the water off and I know how to fix the handle, but we're going to need to replace the handle. So it's just one of those things like you hear sounds and it's good that like at the time like I had stopped the music cuz with these headphones on, I can't hear nothing. So, essentially once the water's off, it's just a bunch of water.
Lights, camera, action, it's a movie.
And I wish that I could have like put this on be right back mode or something before I had to run out of here and it'd be like, dang, everybody okay type situation, man. All is good, y'all. All is good. God is good. But it is funny to me at least. All right, so we was talking about pre-hooks and I'm gonna have to cut this part out the stream, but I want to finish this part for sure. Uh Pre-hook, right? So pre-hook has that bass and that bass is different from the other basses throughout the entire song. And it only appears, as you can see, it only appears in this one part of the song. Just like there's another 808 bass section that only appears in this part of the song. And so I'm going to name this part because I already know this is not a hook. This is like an outro. It's like a whole nother area of the song. It's like a whole totally different uh it's like a totally different formation, right? It's an outro. And this part is a hook. This part is a doubled hook, essentially. This part is like I think I was doing some improvisation. I was doing some improv in this area, but it's basically like you drop some of the sounds out and you just kind of riff on top of the beat. And so this is the song structure. This is the song structure here, you know. And I'm gonna play it from pre-hook.
Lights, camera, action, it's a movie. Go ahead and grab somebody. No sitting at this party. Turn up all of the lights, camera, action, it's a movie. Go ahead and grab somebody. No sitting at this party. Turn up all of the lights, camera, action, it's a movie. Go ahead and grab somebody. No sitting at this party. Turn up all of the lights, camera, action, it's a movie. Go ahead and grab somebody. No sitting at this party. Turn up all of the lights, camera, action, it's a movie. Go ahead and grab somebody. No sitting at this party. Turn up all of the lights, camera, action, it's a movie. Go ahead and grab somebody. No sitting at this party. Turn
Here
up
comes
all
our
of
outro. Cool, man. And that's that. Lights, camera, action. So lights, camera, action is a track that has it definitely takes that idea of, how do you take, you know, a 8-bar loop, essentially like this hook area that has all of the elements, right? How do you take this?
Lights, camera, action, it's a movie. Go ahead and grab somebody. No sitting.
And then, of course, the other thing that people are dealing with when it comes to their track is vocals, right? Like when you're producing, you don't necessarily have vocals. You just have the beat. So you might only have, the beat. So we still have to have something to differentiate from our hook to our verse. And as we go back and forth, right, between those different elements, we need something to help us differentiate from those parts. And so when you listen to music, you can just kind of hear music and hear how things don't just like repeat over and over again, or like it's just like the same vibe. Like even in the most commercialized songs, there's something that comes along to kind of change and give you a different vibe, whether that be changing the drums or dropping out the drums or dropping out the bass or whatever it might be. There's something to differentiate, and it's not just the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So even if you have a really solid 8-bar loop that you've created, right? If you have a really solid 8-bar loop, you can always, copy that guy over, drop some things out, and at the very least, you can have a differentiation between your hook and your verse, or, the intro and the rest of the track, et cetera, et cetera. Right? You can just have some kind of change up happening. Okay. And so here is another track to give another example. My socks are soaking wet. Here is another example. Let me see something real quick. Here's another example that I have. I just got to move this guy over. Every instrument challenge. If I close this one, okay, the rest stays up. Okay, good. I'm gonna close this one too. Okay, cool. All right, so here's another one. I think I did. Oh, I did some stuff in block mode. Okay, so I'll show you in block mode here. I actually did take some of the track. It looks like in block mode. I put some of the track here. Okay, doesn't look like I did anywhere else, but here's what I did. And I'm pretty sure that I created this on stream. This was from a challenge called the Every Instrument Challenge. I was trying to use every instrument in Reason. And what I did with this is I took the actual MIDI and I copied it. So I just highlighted it like this, hit copy, went into block mode, pasted this into block mode, and I did it for a specific reason. The reason why I did it is so that I could use chops of that block like this, right? So if I mute this, for example, this is what you hear. So that is what you hear if you don't have the blocks enabled. But when we unmute, we can hear the blocks, which is, like I said, that block mode has all of the actual, it's basically just the first couple bars. But what I did was I chopped up the block mode and dubbed it, right? So now you're going to have this like skipping, doubling effect that's happening. And we did that with blocks. And you can just do that as much as you want. Like you can just go crazy with the skips. Like you could just like add in like even more. Like I'm gonna turn this down to like 164, and then I'm gonna just like try to get a really good, let me see real quick. Zoom in. There we go. I'm gonna try to get like a really quick oh, it won't let me go further than that. Okay, that's fine. Let me see what if I undo this. Okay, so that's the smallest block that I can get there. But I can still duplicate this block. What's it doing? Okay, let me see. Hold on real quick. I can still duplicate that block over and give myself another stutter there. See what I'm saying? So, and that stutter is created because of block mode. So it can be used as a production tool as well. What's up, Ben Bowman? Welcome to the stream. And so if we were to look at this track also has different areas, right? This track has different areas of creation and production. You have your intro. I have to move this. You have your intro. You have essentially your hook area. You have another hook area here, and then we got something else happening right here. Starting into that verse. Then we got our breakdown. And then we would have like some kind of a build area right here. And this just changes the track to something else, you know. This is like when Kendrick Lamar has those like beat flips, or, you know, Drake, or, you know, whoever, you know, have that beat flip kind of moment. The beat kind of flips, you know. It changes to something else. Just a total flip, right? And then from there, you know, somebody said, oh, like in song structure, we could just leave that, or we can pull over our hook, right, and start it over again. And of course, there's always room for some kind of an outro. So I'll show you here. We'll use this as an outro. When you have elements inside of block mode, you can create clips on top of them, and that will mute those different parts inside of the track, right? So I'll just put a clip over these like this. So now nothing plays except for that last little part right there. So now nothing plays, but now it will play, right? So we can use that to our advantage, and we can say, we can decide from that block that already has instruments in it, that has clips in it, what we want to keep and what we want to mute. Let me do this so you can actually see what I'm talking about. So what I'm talking about is this area right here, this block 1. It has clips inside of it. So right now, if I play it, the drums have been muted, but if I delete these, they're not muted. Now they're muted, now they're not. See what I'm saying? And we want to create a outro. You know, we want to go from this hook to the song ending. So we're going to take out these drums. We're gonna take out this percussion stuff happening. I really like that clang. I think that's Kling that's creating that like little stab. Yeah, I like that. Very long stab there. So we're gonna take out these drums. I think we take out this. All the drum areas, maybe this bass guitar too. And yeah, that could be our outro. And so the elements are still there inside of block mode. The whole song is there. See what I'm saying? Like everything is still there, but in the sequencer, you can, use different clips in the sequencer to mute those different areas. And for that sake, if we wanted, we could play something new as well. Let me see, what key was this in? So we could record something new there as well. Cool. And then, that will be added in there as well. So here we go. Here's what we played. So, and you can add that in, so here it is in the block mode. We played over it, and instead we wanted this to play. So that's another way that you can use that, man. So just like a little quick hack to use block mode, in order for you to, create your tracks and get some sequencing and everything like that done, man. That's really the way that we would use it. All right, so as promised, what I said that I would do is I'm going to use the block mode to actually create the song. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the hook, okay? And that means I'm just going to build the entire song essentially in here. And then I'm going to copy and paste the different parts to the different parts. So I'll be building the track as we go, but I'll be starting in here. I need to put this on a different patch. I use that patch a lot, actually. So let's go to, let's try keys. That's why I like Homage, because it just has some really weird sounds. We hit this random button. Get some interesting little sounds. But nonetheless, let's look for a different patch. Interesting. It's an interesting little sound. It is supposed to sound like static as well. It's reminding me of the sound I get. Yes, it's supposed to sound this way. Essentially what it is like it's sampled sounds from different records and different songs the idea of it. The idea of it is, oh, you found a crate of samples and stuff, and you're starting to use these different devices to record these sounds and, get that very old crispy sound, that vintage sound. That's the idea of it. So it's not really like clean. It's not like, oh, it should sound as clean as possible, right? Here's what it is. That's what it sounds like without the effects. And you add the effect. So it's supposed to be like taking you back to like giving you this like very distorted, destroyed kind of sounds. And Piano Rain. Some of them are like very strong. They're very strong though. Very synthy kind of sounds too. So I'm just looking for one that's like, probably should have just used one of those other ones. Ooh, but I like that. All right, so we got our chord progression. And we got everything else too. So let's drop this tempo down. Let's get to work real quick. A little bit more. Do 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 do. Let's turn it down some. Maybe. Could be something else. If it sounds, oh, it's this is why. Oh, sorry guys. Now I see what the problem is. Sorry, I had the other See, once I saw Ben said that, I was like, oh no, something else is wrong. It's not supposed to sound that bad. Sorry about that. All right, let's try this again. Okay, that should be good right there. I was like, oh, something's wrong there. Let me see. So let's do the piano. Boom. I want Empire Breaks. Empire Breaks is a pretty cool Kontakt. So I'm gonna pull those up and get something popping. Like I really like the snares. I really like the snares in this thing. Let's take those 2 seconds. Cool. Now let's go with this Reason electric bass. Let's okay. See, I really did play something in there I really liked, but let me see. We're gonna do that again. So, okay, let's try. Move this stuff so I can see. So, boom, boom. So the second time around, I played what I wanted to play. Just got to get rid of some stuff. banana bounce, 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 banana bounce, bounce, bounce. Bounce, 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 ba da da bounce, ba da ba bounce, da ba bounce, 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 down da ba bounce, 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 I can't believe I'm spending this long on claps. Don't, all right, so from here, like I could hear, like, all right, let's say if we said that this was, all right, so if we said that this was hook, right, then we would copy this, right, And then now let's go on to the verse section. So we're going to paste in verse. Now I already know I don't want that piano for the verse. And it already sounds like verse to me. That's definitely verse, right? Definitely. Verse. Back to verse. Back to hook. Ben, are you saying, you said, oh, I do need to save that project, don't I? Play it 3K. C minor, 85 BPM. Are you saying this hook sounds like the verse? I want to change this sound because I don't want this sound here, but I'm thinking, which one of these Reason instruments is going to give me what I'm looking for? Probably Object is probably Object. Weirdly enough, is like gonna have the kind of feel, the kind of texture I'm looking for, because I don't really know what I'm looking for. I don't know what I'm looking for, it's just not what's there. Just something different for there, you know? Sometimes for bass lines on hooks, I like to do simpler and then let the basses turn up on the verse. So maybe so I like that because I like that bass. I really like that bass line, but maybe just for the hook, keep it simple. One more time real quick. I don't know, the more you play, the more it sounds like a chorus. Yeah, like this part, this is the this part's chorus. Maybe because I'm saying hook. This part is what I'm thinking would be the hook. And this is what I'm building it up for in my mind. I'm thinking like this is hook, and then this would be like verse. take out the piano, and we just have these main elements, you know what I'm saying? The pad. For the verse, for the hook, kind of bring everything back in. Now, you might be hearing something weird happening with my little pitch bend. Just ignore that for now. What I need right here, I'm gonna add in the ID8, just so I can add in some crash, like a little crash. Yeah, let's add that one in. Let me see. Let's go with something else. I just want the crash. I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna go with these session drums real quick. Since we're already using some of the stuff, I'm gonna just go with this. If I can find it, which I can't seem to find it. I don't remember what it's called. Okay, let me play this as I find what I'm looking for. And we only at the first step, but we still have to put it all together. I just love adding in those live drums. Yeah, I'm just addicted to them. All of that for one cymbal. Man, when my dad bought the set, I was trying to get him to buy a digital set. Especially because this set is too loud. Digital set, believe it or not, like as you're hitting it, it does make like a sound and you can hear that, but not nowhere near as much as an actual acoustic set. So I was trying to get one. I was trying to get somebody to let me get one. I was trying to put the money to Met. He wanted to get this kind, so I don't have a digital set. But man, imagine like being able to have that digital set and have like these drums and stuff. Oh, it would be so dope. It's a drum kit. Wow. Oh wow, that's dope. Got the Roland TD6. That's dope. Oh. That's cool. They got some other little drums in there. So what will we do for everything else? We'll copy this. Let's copy this over. Drop this in for intro. We'll take out these elements. We'll take out we'll do something different for the bass for the intro. Definitely gonna take out the drums. Thinking, oh, man, what was happening there? Hold on real quick. Probably just leave it like that, just like a little 4-bar. Oh, this thing got some interesting little. I didn't know it was doing all that extra stuff in there. I just want the main little part. The bing, 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 boom. That's all I really want. So let's, let me see. It's definitely one of these. Probably this one. It is. Okay, so we probably can just turn it off. It's one of these we want to turn off. There we go. Yeah, just turn that off. Something about that woodeny sound was what I really was feeling for that part. Yeah, yeah. A lot of reverb. So now we essentially have an intro, we have a hook, we have a verse, right? So now we've been working in block mode only. So now we can switch out of block mode, go into song mode, and look at that there. I already have it. Intro, hook, and verse. It's all set up for me. So let's take a listen. Here's something for our verse. We're gonna take out those shakes. We're gonna take out the shakes for our verse right here, and like that. I didn't take out the shakes. What did I take out if it wasn't the shakes? Oh, I took out the hi-hats. I took something out. All right, cool. Then we're gonna go back into this. I'm gonna create like a little mute right here. Keep the bass line. Drop the drums. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe like not such a long. Maybe like a shorter little break. Yeah, something like that. Because that's the next piece. You know, the next piece is transitioning. How do we transition and go back to the hook, right? So sometimes you can do it in melody. You can do it in like your actual playing in your actual production. So for example, we have that main chord progression. And then what if we change that halfway through the verse, and instead of going back here, we go somewhere else, right? So we can go here. And then you kind of lead back in, right? So like that's like different ways that you can lead. So if the first part of the verse plays regular, then that's where you get into that pre-bridge area, right? Like if I was to pull this guy back, and now instead we're gonna draw in pre-hook. We draw in pre-hook there. Then we go into our block and go into pre-hook. Now we can build the pre-hook, right? So we already said, oh, for the pre-hook, we're going to do a totally different piano than what was originally there, and probably a totally different bass. So we can keep everything else. We can keep everything else, and then we can do that new So now the pre-hook establishes something different, right? And I'm going to keep it simple and just delete the chord section of my chords and keep the bass notes. And then that way we'll have a built-in little bass line there, just to keep things simple or simpler. And I'm going to come in here and do my legato. And then I can change up some stuff. Double up on that sound. Double up on that sound. So now we have a pre-hook right there. So we've built that in now. So we have our verse, sounds regular, and then it's going to transition to this pre-hook. Transitions into this pre-hook area. So now we have two elements leading back into the hook. We have the drop, but we also are leading back into the hook with melody and with chord progression as well, right? So with melody and chord progression, we're leading back into the original sound. And so, you know, that's a very musical way of doing it, right? But it takes a little time. It takes understanding, moving from this chord to this chord. Like, oh, why does that work? Like moving from there to here. And then why do these chords work together? Why do the chords work together? That's part of, learning and understanding music and stuff like that. But just giving an example of how you can do your music and how you can set things up. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that is how you can use block mode inside of Reason. So rather than like, having the entire sequencer, I think it's like what I think certain people will benefit and certain people will appreciate block mode more or less than others. Because as I was working in block mode, like I pretty much did the same thing I would do in the sequencer, but now instead everything is like baked in, everything is, I'm working only in one section at a time. So when I'm in block, it's just dialed in to this one area. It's like, okay, just these 8 bars. Don't look at the rest of the sequencer. That's the way that it's pre-done. Every time you go to a block, it just zones you in right there to just that section. So it just helps you a little bit more to like only focus on that section. You're not looking at the rest of the sequence. You're not looking at the rest of the song structure. You're just focusing on that one part or that one block. And you just build it that way. All of Reason is essentially built off of blocks. Like even when you look at the clips, they're blocks, right? They're building blocks. You build up from the claps to the bass to the keys to the drums to the, everything kind of builds up and stacks up together. And you can just take one block or two block, 2 of these clips, and then that's music. And then you can just build until you have more music. And then you can take that music and you can start to trim it down so that you have a more simplified version. I mean, look at the difference from the verse and the hook. You have hook here. You have these elements here in the hook that are just not there in the verse, right? They just aren't there. And so that's, a way that you do it. And then once you build all of those parts, you switch over to song mode, and now you can play with these blocks how you feel. Remember earlier, like I was talking about earlier, you also could come in here and just like start like switching stuff around, right? Like you got verse right here. You can make little cuts there. That changes the whole sound of the music just by adding in a little cut, right? It changes all the music, you know what I'm saying? Illyway, welcome to the live stream. We got a question says, hey Chris, I hope all is well. Just wanted to let you know your music sounds great, man. I'm using Reasons too, but I like to know, are you using the outboard gear to get your sound the way it sounds? Ben Moment said, I still build my song traditionally in a sequencer, but I do use blocks to label the separate parts of the song. That's typically how I use it. I use blocks to label the separate parts of the song. I want to show you guys how you can use it to create your song in the block as well. So yeah, exactly. So Ben Bowman is an example of how certain people will feel different ways about block in block mode. And it's hidden anyway, so a lot of people probably just bypass it and not even know that it exists. I remember that was a big thing. Illyway, I believe that's how I'm saying your name. I believe I'm saying it correctly. So I have 2 pieces. I have 1 piece of gear. That's a audio interface. It's the Scarlett 2i2 from Focusrite, right? That's the only gear that I have. It's the only gear that I have. It's just an interface. And right now, the interface is just using my microphone. It's just sending the microphone into my computer. It's not doing anything with Reason necessarily. In terms of my sound, it's what you're hearing is just coming straight from Reason. It's just a few changes here and there to some EQ, a few changes to compression. It's just a few changes here or there, like the bass line, for example, the electric bass line. You just got to get in there and actually change some of the settings, right? It's all about the sound design. So here's that's the electric bass patch. That's the like standard default patch. right? But you have to get in and look and see, like, what is these things? What's happening? So as you open up electric bass, they have an amp there. So this amp is acting as a bass amp, right? So you can turn that amp on. And as soon as you turn it on, you get a totally different sound. And you probably can't see it because my head is probably in the way. Hold on. As soon as you turn this bass amp on, I think my head is still in the way. You get a different sound. Then you can actually come in here and start changing things. So turn up the bass, turn down the treble. And you also have this source knob here. So the difference between the source knob is you have the direct input, and then you have the amp. So as you turn this up, you hear more of the amp and less of the direct source. So sometimes I like to go right here in the middle, so I can hear a little bit of both. But you also have these different, parts right here, the chorus, the distortion, and compression. You have all of these things. You can turn these on by clicking this button and click on your EQ. You can bring up some of that bass, turn down some of that high, turn up the gain. Right? And it just sounds totally different versus if you don't have that amp on. So I guess my point is, a lot of the sounds in Reason come, just standard, or, you need to do some editing to them to get them to sound how you want them to sound. It's not necessarily about gear. So it's just one of those things like, oh, if you like how it sounds now, you'll really like how it sounds. And I started with you'll really like how it sounds once you add in some other gear, and some other things that you hook up to it. Like, for example, I'm not running anything through the master section, right? Nothing through the master section. A couple Audiomatics. I love Audiomatic. From the bottom, I love those sounds. But what sounds am I using? I'm using Object. I'm using electric bass. And then I got some drums, and then a lot of this stuff is Kontakt. Now, if you're talking about like like sounds are sounds though, right? Sounds are sounds. So if you're talking about like in Kontakt, for example, like these are their drums. But if I tried really hard, could I find similar drums in their drum supply? Like if I really went in here and started looking, I could find a snare that sounds like that snare, and I could find a kick that sounds like that kick. Right? So sounds are sounds, right? So that's just samples. But the bass is coming from Reason. Johnny, I appreciate you. I'm glad that you guys got something out of it. Same thing with the piano. Here's Alicia Keys. It's Alicia Keys. I'm gonna pull up Process Pianos. Process Pianos is a piano. Is the piano from Reason. I'm gonna just pull up some clean piano here. I'll pull up like this one, for example, and then I'm going to go find that sound in the intro. And no, it's not in the intro, it's in the hook though. So we're gonna take those same piano keys and play Reasons. So like that one kind of sounds like multiple pianos playing at the same time. Sounds very similar. Yes, Jersey Boy. Yes, one is right. They have different tones and different tonalities, right? My point being is just that like you find the piano that sounds the way you want it to sound. Like to me, I think Alicia Keys has a little bit of more bass to it. So yeah, you could get Alicia's Keys because it's like, oh, that has the sound exactly how I want it to sound. Or you could use process pianos and then just boost up some of the bass sound, and then it's hard to play piano and talk at the same time. But my point being, you can change with EQ and find different patches and stuff like that, in order for you to find a sound that you really like, right? And Reason has different styles of sound as well. So like that piano sounds like it's like underneath a well or something. Like it just sounds like smothered almost. Not that kind of a reverb. I would like put this in like a small room reverb. Like I go to Reason and go to like and with sound design, you could really get that piano to sound like somebody's in a room playing it, as opposed to like the mics are like mic'd up directly on it, and it's a different sound. You know what I'm saying? It's a different sound. And that could be something that you want to do with process piano. So they have different piano sounds. You know what I'm saying? I think Reason shines mostly in their synths, right? So in terms of sound, like, because that's all we're really talking about is sounds. It's like, oh, your sound sounds good. Like a lot of people do that. Like they say that before. Like, how do I get mine to sound like yours? I really don't know. I really can't tell you because I don't know what you are doing exactly when you're making your music. I can tell you one thing that I'm not doing, right? I am not looking at if I'm peaking or not when I'm making this track. You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking at these faders and saying, oh, wow, it's coming in kind of hot. I'm not doing that. I'm listening to the track and I'm going, does it sound the way that I want it to sound? Okay, this thing. Oh, something was making that staticky sound. I had to get rid of that. Is it sounding how I want it to sound? That's really just the number one. If it's not enough bass, I need more bass. Maybe it's a gear thing. Maybe it's your headphones. I use the Audio Technica headphones. These are the ATH M50X. I like the way that these sound, and I like that they're mostly comfortable. But when I'm making my tracks, I can hear the music, and this is what it sounds like to me. Sounds good. So if you're listening and you're saying, oh, it sounds good, but when you're making your music, it doesn't, I don't know. Maybe it is the headphones you're using. Maybe it's the speakers you're using. Maybe it's how you're leveling things. Maybe you're a little self-conscious with how much EQ you use, or how little EQ you use, or how you do your compression, Ben Bowman, man, hit the link in the description, man. Hit the link in the description and grab you some of the 50s, all right? Hit the link in the description, grab you some of the 50s, man. Like this, that sounds like. It does sound like we getting ready to do a ballad. 80s ballad. It's just different styles, man. A lot of these don't use at all. You know, a lot of these patches not being used at all. I've never used that patch. I'm probably never will. I'm not using this patch. But that's pretty cool that they took piano samples. They took piano samples to create this sound. You know? That's pretty cool. I might use this for something, cause I can hear this on like some super like. I can hear that with that. I can hear something like that. I can hear like that cool little piano little situation. Probably this one too. Probably the same little. Yeah, I use both of them on the same track. I would just do those chords, use both of those on the same track, throw some house drums on it, throw a little bass on it, and we're done. But that's kind of, you know what I'm saying? Hey, shout out to Reason, man. Shout out to Reason, man. It's kind of haunting. It's kind of haunting, but a cool little sound, right? A cool little sound. Hey, man. Shout out to y'all for coming through, man. I need to go check on the missus. They do have great effects. I'm with you, Oscar. What I always do with combinator patches is that I separate the effects chain into its own combinator such that I can focus on the bass sound of the synth of that preset or so forth. Yeah, specifically since I use Reason VST, I want to use the DAWs chaining for effects. I like that. What I've been doing a lot. What I've been doing more, because I used to just like have like this, for example. I'll have the piano, the patch, and then I have an effect right under it. So I stopped doing that. I started using the actual insert effects area in the mixer. I started using that more, and that's helped me to be a little more organized. I really like that last Reason video that got posted. The guy was talking about how he uses combinators, and so he has just a bunch of combinators for his beats and or for his productions, and it's all very like organized into a specific way to where you can just get started and get going. You know, you don't have to waste a bunch of time. And I think like for that kind of music that has pretty much similar vibes and similar like patterns, you probably could just get away with that. But hip hop has a lot of similar patterns too. You know what I'm saying? Most of the claps are they're gonna happen, you know, at the 5 and the 9. You know, most of the claps are gonna come in on the same spots. You know, there's usually gonna be at least one kick on the 1, and then, you know, other kicks that happen in other places. So you probably could set up the same kind of combinators just for hip hop. And the other thing I was thinking was, man, all of his combinators essentially can become Reason sound packs. Because that's what Reason sound packs are. The companion packs are just collections of combinators that you can use as song starters and things you can put into your song. So I was like, man, this is perfect for Reason sound packs, man. Producing hip hop versus techno is lyrics and vocal aside pretty much the same. Yeah, I mean, drums pretty much stay the same. Stuff usually stays the same. And say, for example, if you had something that was like, if you did like sample style beats, you probably could, if there was a way that you could take a sample, chop the sample, and then run that sample through like a player or something. And then essentially all you would do is just swap out the sample. So like instead of this sample, you just swap out a sample, but play the same kind of sample chops or whatever, play the same style. You could just make you can make tons of beats that way. So it's like, oh, same sample chops, just a different sample. You could just run that up all day long, right? And then just, you know what I'm saying, throw them boom bap drums in there, a couple bass lines here or there, or some 808s, and man, run it up. Listen, man, I appreciate y'all for coming through and hanging out with your boy. Hopefully you got something out of this block mode hack. And if you did, please be sure to leave a like. Please be sure to leave a thumb up on the channel. If you're not subscribed, please make sure that you get subscribed. If you're looking for more help inside of Reason, I do offer one-on-one courses, one-on-one classes. And you can sign up for those by going to my website. You can book your session, and you can go through everything that needs to happen there. I'll email you, and we'll chop it up, make sure that you can get into the session. Hopefully you've seen some of the videos, how I've helped some of the other students that I've had recently. I have more videos, I just haven't edited them, but I do want to edit them so I can get them out so more people can see how other people have been getting help, you know, inside of Reason. So definitely right here, there's the link. Jump in and go to chrisreedbeats.com if you're looking for one-on-one tutorials. All right. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you. Have a good night. Until next time, peace.